So Johannesburg Pride organisers say that event will go ahead as planned this weekend, and that's despite the U.S. Embassy issuing a warning about a possible terror attack in Sandton. In a statement, organisers say they've assessed the situation and found no evidence of an immediate threat. The 33rd edition of the Pride Parade is set to take place tomorrow in Sandton. Let's get you more on just how they came to this decision. We're joined by Johannesburg Pride organiser Kay Alley and Denise Rapitsi, who is a queer activist. To both of our guests, thanks very much indeed for joining us. Kay, shall I begin with you as one of the organisers of Johannesburg Pride? When you say that you've assessed the situation and found no evidence of an immediate threat, tell us about how you went about assessing the situation. Good morning.
Good morning, Michelle. So one thing, Michelle, I think let's take it back. The media actually married the possible threat in Sandton to Johannesburg Pride. There was never a direct threat made to Johannesburg Pride or indications that the event itself was under threat. There are numerous events that can be considered large public gatherings taking place within Sandton and the broader Sandton area. For some reason, the media chose to amplify Johannesburg Pride as the target, which is completely untrue. So based on that, based on the fact that we are not a direct threat, nor are we the only event, we looked at our planning, looked at our contingency, and looked at our security, and then worked with the authorities to look at how we can actually enhance that.
I hear what you're saying, Denise. Pardon me. I hear what you're saying, Kay. I just wonder, given that it is one of a number of events, as you say, taking place in Sandton that involves a large gathering of people, are you not taking a risk by going ahead, despite all of the diplomatic wranglings going on between the South African government and the way the U.S. handled this terror alert? Is this not a risk to go ahead? And it's a question I would pose not only to you as an organizer of Johannesburg Pride, but to anyone choosing to go ahead with a big event in Sandton this weekend.
So I think, Michelle, the LGBT community in Africa live under attack on a daily basis. So in most instances, most of us take a risk every day. In this instance, defiance is key, because what has happened and what the situation has translated into and given the opportunity for is homophobia to raise its ugly head. The inciting, this entire social media rant that is triggered is inciting a series of homophobic comments directed not only at Pride but at the LGBT community. And it's itching away at the very reason for our existence.
Denise, let's bring you into the discussion. Do you agree with this decision by Johannesburg Pride to go ahead with the event this weekend?
Look, I think if Pride can manage the numbers, because in previous years of Pride there have been an overflow of people and the ratio of security to the people has been a bit low. However, I think that if there is contingency from Kay and the Pride Board to actually push through with regards to security and ensuring that people, I saw a statement yesterday by WineX, which is also another event that is quite big happening over the weekend. They have beefed up their security in order to ensure that all of their patrons are supported. So personally, I think that people need to make the decision. It's up to themselves, actually, to see if they will be attending Pride. Yeah. I think, personally, I remain very cautious. I think that it's still quite, we are in a place where South Africa is going through a lot. So we've seen things happen in the last few years that are unpredictable. However, if they can assure that the safety of the citizens and the LGBT community is ensured, then definitely I think that Pride should continue.
Do you agree with the sentiment that Kay has also raised around, this link being made between this terror alert issued by the US and the Pride event, even though there was no link made in that terror alert itself, that, as Kay said, the media made that connection? Do you think there's a risk that if, say, the Pride organizers take the decision to not go ahead with the event, that is a loss for how far we've come in our country insofar as homophobia is concerned?
I think Pride is the biggest event that's happening this weekend. It actually is the biggest event. So people would automatically link it with Pride. I do think that social media as well has linked it. Twitter has also spewed quite a bit of comments around it. I think that GSK is right in saying that people are going to actually, they're targeting Pride, but the point is, and the basis is, it is the biggest event over this weekend. And we have seen that terrorist groups sometimes do become very religious, and that is quite homophobic, and that does result in perhaps maybe this spewing. But however, we just need to remain cautious, Michelle. I think that, look, as much as the Pride Board wants to continue with this, I think that we need to think about the people first. We need to think about the queer people of Johannesburg. Is it safe to pursue and continue with it? What is the number of the ratios? How many people are going to be per security? What is the space is there going to be an overflow area? How are they going to manage those numbers? And my problem, again, is the numbers. Are we able to keep everyone safe? Yeah,
absolutely. Kay, what is your response to that? I mean, what is that ratio between security and the numbers at the event this weekend?
So we do have caps. Obviously, I can't go into complete details for our security plan on air, but we have got mechanisms in place. I mean, Denise is speaking from a point of view is where I know she hasn't been attending Pride in a while, and personally has felt that Pride has lost its meaning and. So from a person that has been very much instrumental in orchestrating Pride in South Africa for the last 10 years, I think that if you see where we've come from and where we're going, defiance in this instance is still key. You know, we need to remember where we started, and I disagree that Johannesburg Pride is the biggest event happening this weekend. We've got the Soweto Derby, you've got the Corona Festival taking place in just outside of the broader Sandton area. No one is talking about that. These are also events that can be seen as conflicting to religious groups that are particularly associated with terrorism, and they are in isolated places. Ring-fenced into areas, and I mean we are in open view right under the nose of the American consulate. So you know the focus and emphasis is mind-boggling, because we all matter, right? And for us, we have spoken. We know we've gotten allocated more armed forces from the South African Police Service, and we know we're on everyone's radar in terms of our maintenance and our well-being from a security perspective.
Yeah, so you are taking those kinds of precautions.
We are, and we are because we are being focused on.
Right.
But surely the concern should be for the events that are not being focused on.
And ultimately, it is up to, as you say, Denise, it is up to the individual person to make a decision about whether they go ahead. Do you have any parting shots for us, Denise, as we close off this discussion?
Everyone needs to keep safe. I think people need to remember, yes, the true meaning of Pride. The true meaning, Michelle, was to go into areas that were harmful and areas that were actually, we had Soweto Pride, which happened a few months ago. Those areas where people are really stigmatized on a daily basis. And unfortunately, for me personally, I don't think Sandton is a very stigmatized area in terms of the LGBT community. I think that let's spread awareness for Pride, and let's ensure that the messaging of Pride actually comes through to those marginalized areas and to those marginalized people. And that's the true meaning of Pride. I think that bring it out again into areas like Ekurhuleni. So we completely do support any Pride parade that's trying to push the agenda of trying to destigmatize the LGBTQIA community. And people remain safe over this weekend. Soweto Derby is in Soweto, by the way, which is a really big event. However, security first for the people.
Security
and we do
first.
Security first.
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
need to think about their own security.
Let me thank both of our guests this morning. Kay Alley is a Johannesburg Pride organizer. Denise Rapitsi is an LGBTQIA activist. As we continue to track the story around that terror alert that was issued by the U.S. Embassy for large gatherings in Sandton, and of course the Pride event, which is taking place in Sandton as well. They do say there is an increase in security in that precinct.